Holy snap back to reality. There goes FlyQuest's gravity, and I won't say any more before I get the DMCA claim and the copyright strike. Welcome back to Flight Check, Season 3, Episode 20. We are back once again discussing all aspects of FlyQuest, from the very peaks to the bottom of the valleys. My name, as always, is Sandy Toes, and only to my left tonight is my fellow host, Curly Double Q. Knox wore out on vacation this week, up in Iowa for a family trip.
Actually, as you can see, he is trying to rescue FlyQuest right here in that photo.
Yep. He is ready to perform some emergency medical procedures and resuscitate this sinking squad from the dire situation that they truly have placed themselves into. So, lots to talk about tonight. I will say right now, if you are interested in any way in getting on the show tonight, and don't worry, I will say this again in a bit, so we'll say it multiple times. If you are interested in hopping on the show tonight with me and Curly, putting the Discord link in the chat, once I pull up the chat, putting the Discord link in the chat, and you can join us on air to give your take on the show as to whatever you want about FlyQuest. I'm presuming mostly the LCS team. I think we'll probably, unless we have a really good take that's not LCS, that's about like Melee or something, like if Dean wants to hop on.
I'm sure if Dean shows up, he'll end up talking about Smash the whole time and be like, you know what, we have an LCS team, I guess.
Exactly. So, hop in that link in that room. Join the Vibin room, which is right below the showroom, and we will put your take in the channel Curly's Hot Take Oven, and we'll browse through that, and if we want to do your take, we'll bring you on. We'll do a little chit-chat, banter about what's going on, and we'll discuss whatever thoughts and feelings you guys might have. Before we get...
And also, as per usual, FlyQuest Challengers is playing during this, so we will get frequent updates on their performance against EG Challengers.
NACL must have changed the schedule because according to Leaguepedia, the schedule was Fly Challengers plays at 6, and I was like, excellent, they play at 6 Eastern. Won't have to deal with them playing during the show tonight. And, of course, things changed, and now they're playing during the show tonight. So, they're going up against EGC to close things out, so we'll see how...
Hoping for a 6-0 week.
Hoping for a 6-0 week. Already a 4-0 week. Things are looking good for one end of the FlyQuest League of Legends rosters. But we have to talk about it. We'll get straight into it, I guess. The 0-3 week, Curly, it has returned. After hiding away for a full week, the 0-3 week has returned, and with a vengeance, as we fall to several of the same squads that we already lost to earlier this season. Most notably to me, 100 Thieves and Dignitas. Two squads that all three of us last week predicted the win over. You were the lone win over Golden Guardians person. But a drop to 100 Thieves, Golden Guardians, and Dignitas. And let's be frank, it was not pretty. It was not... It didn't feel close. It didn't feel good. There were no... For me, there were no, like, moral victories in any of it. It just... You know, I couldn't... There were very few positives for me to take away. What was, to you... what were some of the frustrations for you overall from this week before we kind of get into the specifics?
I think it just kind of felt like whatever progress and rhythm we had figured out in the week before, we just dialed it back, and we were uncoordinated. We were, sloppy. We were getting killed more than we were doing kills. Like, we were just... It didn't feel like we had just had a 3-0 week the week before. It felt like a completely different team again. Now, granted, that is to say that, like, our 3-0 week was kind of scrappy. So maybe it was just not a fluke, but a lot closer than I really thought it would have been. And this could have been what the week before was like, because even I believe it was in Dignitas and maybe part of 100 Thieves where it seemed kind of stable. Like, it wasn't the best, but we weren't too far behind. And then all of a sudden we just kept, like, we were losing.
Yeah, and it was just really, really frustrating after the hype of the 3-0 week on the back of Prince getting Player of the Week. You only expect this team to go up from there. Everyone's like, FlyQuest back. The pundits are all saying it. We're saying it. We're starting to talk about, all right, is top 4 realistic, for playoff seeding? And now it's an interesting question of, okay, are we even going to make playoffs? Which is a realistic question that I think has to get answered at some point. Like, is this a legitimate thing that can happen? I ran a couple polls on the Flight Check podcast Twitter at Flight Check Crew. Pre-game, I ran the exact same poll before and after the game. About half, so we had 28 votes in the first poll. About half of them said make 7th or 8th and then lose in lower bracket. And then you had a few, maybe like 2 or 3 people say get 5-6, drop to lower bracket and out. And then you had a third of those 28 votes, so that's somewhere around 8, 9, 10. Say Miracle run to top 4, and then you had another 2 or 3 folks say bottom 2. Ran the same poll again. Literally 2.5 hours later, after, and this was on Sunday, mind you, or not Sunday, on Friday. So they were already 3-8. So poll redux now 3-9. What's most likely? 21 votes, 7 for the 7-8 finish, 7 for 9 and 10. So the amount of people voting for bottom 2 triples, and Miracle run to top 4 drops way off. So the optimism completely gone from the community. It feels like my optimism is gone. And I'll talk about how I'm feeling in a minute. How are you feeling after this 0-3 week, staring down the barrel of a tough week 5, NRG, Evil Geniuses, and Team Liquid, none of which are teams that we should, ignore or just bypass, especially Evil Geniuses. I mean, how are we supposed to feel right now? How are you feeling? How do you think the community should be feeling?
I mean, even my faith has been shaken a little bit because I'd say of the 3 of us, I am always the most optimistic, the most hopeful. I'll predict us, usually a scoreline ahead of either of you guys, picking that game that you don't think we can win. But it's really nerve-wracking when you are 3-9 and because of most of the season you've played so far is going 0-3, and it's like after last week, it's a tough position. If we don't switch things up, I know currently the popular call in the background is to put at least Spirax in. I know some people opting to even put Yuji in with him, and even Masu, really just being like, all right, let's take that middle area of our squad from challengers, put them up to the LCS.
Mm.
The one I hear the least about though is bringing Masu up, because even though people have a lot of faith in Masu, like Prince in all of this has still managed to be kind of solid. Like he still put his ass out in like the Golden Guardian games, and I believe the Dignitas game. Like he tried what he could, and it just was, the games didn't go well for him or the entire team.
Right.
But it's really tough. Like the only thing that I might say is 2 weeks ago, I don't know if it was on show, but at least after show, we kind of had this random theory that both of the first 2 weeks were like the first week of that patch, because week 1, you only had the 1 week of the patch. Week 2, that was the first week of the patch. Week 3 was the second week, so we actually figured it out and we went 3-0. Now we switched up the patch again. But for this week and next, it's the same patch. It's 13-13. We're playing with the same general meta, hypothetically. So is it just that we need to take that first week as a loss, and maybe these next 2 weeks will go really well? Potentially, but I don't think it's just meta. I think it's a lot of things going on, and it's just we have to really, really hope that the team can, if we stick with the same roster, that in this week they can get over their mental blocks, especially when I know Vikla has in the interviews, like, he is disappointed in himself.
Yeah.
It's not like he's ignorant of the fact that he's not performing to the community's expectations. He's not performing to his expectations.
Yeah.
And so in this time that we're waiting these next couple of days, if he is going to be the one on it, I'm really hoping that in scrims and coaching and whatever, he is working on being that player that he is supposed to be. And that the team is working on being the team we're supposed to be, because if we even lose, I think, granted, if we look at our predictions later, we're not optimistic, but if we lose 2 games, I think that dramatically hurts our playoff chances, especially because one of the teams we are right behind is NRG. So like if we drop to NRG, that hurts so much, because we're 2 games down, there's 6 to go. It's just a really, really tough spot. It's mathematically possible, but when you look at the strength of schedule we have versus the strength of schedule of the people just above us, it's pretty nerve-wracking.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think I actually realized this until you mentioned it just now. We can legitimately be knocked out of top 8 this week. Or at least make it nigh on impossible come week 6, where, like, you look at all 100 Thieves and NRG need to do is win 2 games, and they could be 7-8 at the end of the week. All we have to do is lose 2 games, and the max we can win for the rest of the season is 7. So, barring an 0-3 week by one of those teams, then the next week. By the way, we don't have the tiebreaker against 100 Thieves. They hold the tiebreaker. And we'll find out who will hold, if we hold the tiebreaker over NRG right now, 1-0, but, they could tie it up at 1-1 and cause an actual tiebreaker to be played for the last place spot. We are in a dire situation now. And I think, and I hate to say this, you mentioned it though,
yeah.
I think you have to look at the play from Vikla this week. Stats never tell the whole story, but I think these stats do. 1-3-2, 0-5-5, 0-5-7. That's a 1-13-14 scoreline this week. He looked outmatched. He looked unconfident. He does not look like he is playing at the LCS level right now. I will note that we got outdrafted versus 100 Thieves. You know,
Mm-hmm.
we took triple AD into a Malphite Poppy. So, of course, that was never going to go well. So, some of the blame does lie there. But, you know, 055 against Golden Guardians. 057 in the game against Dignitas, which is a game that, like, Spica posted a 7-3-3 scoreline. Prince went
Yeah.
3-1-7, and Vulcan went 2-2-10. Like, more than half of the rest of the team, 3 of the other 5 members, all posted very positive, good-looking scorelines. And Vikla is the one that stands out at 0-5-7 on the Annie.
Yeah.
I think other people feel this way. I know other people feel this way. But at this point, like, I'll just say it. Changes have to be made. This is already a week where, frankly, I'm not expecting us to do very well. I know Nox is not expecting us to do very well. We'll see his predictions later as well as yours. I actually forget what yours were. I saw them already, but I forget. I'll take a look later.
They're oddly similar to yours, maybe.
Sure. It's frankly, what do you lose this week by starting a guy who has been incredibly successful in NACL this split in Spirax? What do you have to lose at this point?
Let's take a quick look at the teams at the top. Cloud9, NA Challengers mid laner. EG, NA Challengers mid laner.
No, to be fair, Cloud9, he's kind of been a journeyman everywhere, but yes.
Yeah, but they came from NACL, or sorry. Right. So we got C9, Challengers mid laner. EG, Challengers mid laner. Team Liquid, Challengers mid laner. Dignitas, we got Jensen.
Yeah, Team Liquid brought up
TSM.
APA this past week, and he did great.
Yeah, and TSM has had Insanity carry them through every win. And it's like...
Yeah.
The only non-success story for Challengers players, especially in mid laners, has been Immortals. And I don't think that's Balulu's fault. I think that is just because of... we've talked about Immortals as an org. You can beat a dead horse. It's fine. So it's like, maybe it's the era of, Challengers mid laners. Maybe we just need to promote Spirax because it's worked pretty well for everyone else.
You're at a point where clearly things are not working. And whether it's at the coaching drafting level, whether it's at the player level, you can't continue on like this.
Mm-hmm.
You have to change something. You have to shake something up. Dignitas is 3 games ahead of us in the standings. They are tied for 5th. And they're making a move. They're like, you know what? We're going to bring in Poom and drop Diamond. And they're making a move with 2 weeks left, with 6 games left to go in the season. They're replacing one of their starters. Why are we so reticent to agree with the sentiment by the analysts, by the community, that a change needs to happen? Now, it's Monday.
Yeah.
We're 2 days away from game day. FlyQuest, notorious in recent years for dropping their roster moves on us an hour before game time. So something very well could happen. But until then, something I said a couple weeks ago when we were 0-6, I am not seeing responsibility be taken. I think Vulcan had a tweet recently where he talked about, acknowledging that the season was not going very well. But I am not seeing, leadership do the same. Papa Smithy, retweeted LCS, congrats to Prince on winning MasterCard Player of the Split. Retweeted a Masu highlight. And then Thursday night, after we're 3-8, he's like, "Oh, here's my new Threads account."
Yeah.
And then he also retweets today the video that FlyQuest made about Prince.
Yeah, this is honestly the least communication I think I've seen from the team all year.
Yeah.
And especially in terms of like the coaches and staff. Now, granted, technically there is no actual obligation for them to talk to us. It is a luxury we are given. But it's also an expectation the community has, especially with how open they were. I'd say like they were very, very active in spring and then even a lot last year. This is like, it just doesn't feel like the org we know, if I'm being perfectly candid.
Yeah.
And I find that a bit concerning. And it could be that they're hesitant to say anything because they want to show us something, like talk to us about something good. They want to be proud of achievements and all that stuff. And I completely understand that. But, communication isn't just about the good. It has to be about the bad. And it's something that fans respect a lot. Granted, I still, I put a lot of faith in this organization. But even I would like to hear a bit more about what's going on and like maybe some thoughts, like at least some words,
I think, like I agree with you. I think the alternate perspective I have is like pro sports teams, win or lose, they got to go do the press conference after the game. We don't have that really in esports. You lose, you don't have to do the interview. It was like 6 games, 2 weeks went by before we finally got a stage interview with a FlyQuest player. Now we're 4 weeks, 12 games in, and there's simply been, besides like the 3-0 week, there's simply been zero acknowledgement of how poorly the season is going. And yeah, it's like people don't know what to say, and I think it's frustrating. And I get that, like, you feel like you're just saying empty words, maybe like, oh, sorry we're losing, we don't know what's going on. It's like people will just appreciate that you say anything at all. And in fact, people will not appreciate it when you kind of go, la 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 la, nothing's happening, we're not losing every single game badly. Yeah, it's frustrating, frankly.
A little bit.
To get back to the games. Drafting. Let's talk about drafting. Already talked about triple AD into Malphite Poppy.
Let's see what else we got.
For the love of God, never again, please. Went back to something more standard. Impact really loved the Croc this week.
Yeah.
Vikla.
Honestly,
Vikla on Azir.
I like her comp.
And then I'll say even like the comp against Dig, I liked that. I love the Blitzcrank.
The first comp was rough, but the next two were actually pretty good. It's just
they got better.
Yeah.
I just think Golden Guardians is on a whole nother level.
Yeah.
And then Dignitas, that was a very winnable game that, in my opinion, I can't give you the specific timestamp, but in my opinion, we threw that game
Mm-hmm.
pretty hard by pushing and being too greedy
Yeah.
for towers, and Jensen came around and just kind of obliterated us. Um, yeah, just very frustrating and difficult to know even what to say because there's just nothing like great to point to. Spica played
Yeah.
fine. Prince is like doing what he can. Like legitimately, this guy he goes 3-2-0 versus 100 Thieves. He goes 7-5-1 versus Golden Guardians, and he goes 3-1-7 versus Dignitas. Like Prince is like 1v9ing right now in
Mm-hmm.
many ways. Because Spica is hot or cold. He's not looked so great on these tanks. 1-2-5 on Maokai, 0-5-7 on Sejuani. Impact's been relegated to Croc duty because either the Cassante is banned away from him or it's not a good matchup. We even banned the Cassante in a game. And Vicla's really sticking to this. You know, he played the Tristana to great success last week, and then
Or yeah.
that just gets absolutely countered. So, okay, it's back to Azir and Annie.
Yeah.
Like, surely there's something else that we could be doing here. I don't know. What's your take on the drafting right now?
I think it's an awkward topic to discuss when it comes to this team for sure, because one thing that was quoted in the successful week 3 was that sticking to comfort champs is part of why they were able to be successful. They were able to focus on their gameplay rather than who they were playing. And so it might be the case that we are trying to keep it with like we know what we're playing, so we can just play better. And that might be why the drafts in some cases are a little less creative. Now, like I said, the second 2 drafts were pretty good. The only thing I am not a fan of is the Annie against Dignitas, because I just don't think Annie has been good for Vikla this split. Like, I don't care what kind of comp you're going for. If you have, for me, if you have a player who has a very low success rate with a champ, especially in recent samples, it doesn't make sense to give them that champ. You just need to be like, all right, we're switching up the pool for this guy, you know?
Yeah.
Because every Annie game has just not been it. Not been it.
No.
The Azir games have been like kind of 50-50, I'd say. And then the Tristana games were really good last week and just unfortunate this time, you know? And so I do think we're decent at draft. I think it might be just the case that because we're trying to make sure the team knows what they're like, is just comfortable in who they're playing, that it's kind of restricting us in our ability to be creative. And that just might be a case of the situation. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think, yeah, it's, for me, there's a severe lack of coordination that I'm seeing. I'm not seeing coordination. I'm seeing clear miscommunication.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm starting to see desperation as well. I'm seeing desperation to make the play, to end the game, to win, because this team knows that they have to win. They know that basically at this point they have to go, 3-3 at minimum to maybe make playoffs. Probably need to go 4-2 or 5-1, right?
Yeah.
In order to stand a chance. And that creates a lot of mental pressure. And when you have when you have players like Vikla, I'm sorry to keep calling this guy out, but like it's something to point to. When you have players like Vikla who are talking about very openly that their confidence is like broken, like the mental is literally boom. It's mental boom. And unless you start winning, that's not going to come back. Here's something. I guarantee you, if we lose to NRG on Wednesday, we go 0-3 the rest of the week. Like, unequivocally.
Yeah.
The only way we win more than one game this week is by beating NRG to start on Wednesday. Because that gives you confidence. That gives you, hey, there's some hope. We're 4-9. Only got to win like 2 or 3 more. We can do it, guys. And maybe you lose to EG, but you can beat TL. We beat TL earlier this season. We can do it. We beat NRG earlier this season. We can do it. 2 of the teams this week we have winning records against. Like, they are beatable teams for FlyQuest. We have done it. So it starts with NRG. It starts with winning there.
Yeah.
How much do you think the mental is affecting things right now? And then we can maybe we can either take a call or because maybe we can take calls and then go over to challengers and the other topics of the night.
Yeah, sure. I think the mental's probably not in the best spot right now. I mean, if you as a team this team, they expect highly. Like, they have high expectations for themselves before even thinking about what the community has in terms of expectations. When they are on the Rift as individual players, as a team, they know the ability they are supposed to have.
Right.
And so when you know what you are supposed to be able to do, and you are not like playing that same way, and your record doesn't show that, and you have had 3-0-3 weeks, which is like truly, I think, even an anomaly, because even some of the worst performing teams in these last few splits have, like, you know, maybe had an 0-3 week one time, 0-2 week another time, but gotten that random win here or there to, like, you know, mitigate their loss streaks and all that stuff. So this is definitely just an anomaly. So, like, and I think with the fact that it's these super weeks all the time, it's going to hit even harder. Because if you lose 2 games in a week, fine, but you're losing 3 games in a week.
Right.
And then you're losing another. It's like, it's certain to have taken a toll on these guys. And so I truly, like, I do feel for the players a lot, and I want to give them my full support, because I don't think beating yourself up over it is a positive thing, because there's being critical of yourself, but then, like, if you just keep thinking you're going to do worse, then you're going to do worse. And so it's just a weird position to be in.
Yeah.
But I do have great concerns for the mental state of the players right now.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. We do have a take in Curly's hot take oven.
I saw it. I saw who put it in there.
Nate ID, I believe.
Nate, yes.
So I'm gonna.
So before we get formally into this, guys, if you are in chat right now, make sure you get in Flight Check Discord. Make sure you go to Curly's hot take oven, put something in there, and then wait in Vibe and Room, and we will drag you over. All right, because we're going to be doing this now. So if you want to talk about your take, make sure you get in now. And if you don't want to defend it, you can still put it in there, and then we'll be able to talk about it in a little bit. You know,
that is also true. If you don't want to talk on air, just write it up, and we will discuss it as well. We can also do that. All right, Nate. Hope you're listening, because I'm about to drag you into the room here. So get ready.
I cannot wait for this conversation. I haven't talked to Nate in forever.
There we go. That has officially ruined the OBS setup. But we will.
Oh man.
We'll rock and roll.
Just hide non-video participants. That's what you need to do.
Oh, is that what I do? Wait, hang on. How do I do that?
All right, go click on the call itself.
Yeah.
Click on the 3 dots in the upper right, and then check the show non-video.
Life hacks. All right.
There we go.
Nate, welcome.
Hi, Nate. Welcome to our NA production.
Welcome to the show, Nate ID. Would you please, for the people, give your take?
All right. So my take is that this is the FlyQuest we should have seen in spring. Uh, Not losing every game. Honestly, this is probably the worst outcome that could possibly happen. But just at least seeing the struggles, we should have seen it in spring.
Mm.
Okay.
Okay, I like
Can you
it.
elaborate on that a little bit? So when you say like we should have seen these struggles in spring, like do you mean like there was like a lack of coordination and it just didn't show on Sage, or like maybe our record was kind of puffed? Is that what you're saying about the spring?
I would take a pinch of salt on that
Okay.
on the record. It is puffed because I do believe that there is a honeymoon period, but I believe the honeymoon period lasted a little too long.
Okay.
Because if I can recall, there were some slight instances of like miscommunication and
Mhm.
some inconsistencies in spring, but it just wasn't to this degree.
Yeah. All right, Sandy, you want to go first on this one?
Yeah, I mean, I'll start. Yeah, I mean, obviously the 9-0 was a fantastic, or not 9-0, but like, was it 9-0?
7-2. It was 7-2.
You know, I struggled to remember because it feels like so long ago now. The amazing start was really good.
Or maybe it was 8-1.
It
It was really good.
The midseason change was difficult because you had something that really worked. But you have promises that you've made to a player that when he gets there, he's going to start. And you have to give him a fair shake and you have to give him a fair shot. So then you go into the offseason, you narrowly, truly, we are like a player or two away from having gone to MSI. Which in retrospect, I'm kind of glad we didn't, because imagine the insanity that would be going to MSI and then being 9th place in summer after supposedly upgrading at the support role. So we did start to see a lot of issues in the second half of spring. You're absolutely right, Nate. I don't think you can't completely say this is the team we should have seen in spring, simply because you did change out one of those positions. But to your point, people were pointing out mid lane as the weak link in this roster basically from the get-go. Now, the preseason takes were all, oh, Vikla's insane, he'll be great, yada, yada, yada. It became pretty clear within a few weeks of spring, okay, Vikla is not doing as well as we expected him to be. No one expected him to be better than Prince, right? But still not doing as well as we expected him to be. You would expect him to be a top 3 mid in this league. He absolutely was not. Currently, he is playing like a bottom 3 mid in this league. I'm sorry, it's just the truth. It's not flame. It's just that's how it is. And I think there were elements of what we've been seeing this summer. There were elements of it in spring, but it's just, man, I don't know how anyone could have predicted this split after witnessing spring. Like, you could have been like, okay, they might struggle a bit more, it might be not so hot out the gate, maybe some more like 5-4, 6-3 round robins, things like this, but maybe a 10-8. Maybe they're finishing third, fourth. Golden Guardians on the come up. Maybe I power ranked the team third.
I power ranked them first. Like this is
whoever
has this.
I power ranked them third, and I specifically said that because I was like, look, Vikla's not going to outperform Gory right now unless he absolutely levels up. And and in my head, I was like, okay, Eminez, Gory, JoJo's still around, and obviously we've seen how good, Golden Guardians is doing.
Yeah.
But I was like, Vikla is not, a top 3 mid in this league currently, so I can't, in good faith, put FlyQuest at 1 or 2, even with the Vulcan upgrades. So that's my thoughts. I think there were elements of what you could of what we've seen this summer. There were elements of it in spring. But man, if you know someone who can predict this kind of collapse from a few months away, I've got some like World Series bets that I could really use some help on. Next year's Super Bowl, things like that.
Look, whoever has this bingo card, like, wow, you are crazy.
Yeah.
Like, you got real lucky. To be quick about my response to it is I do think that you definitely have some points. I think, like Sandy said, there were some weak points in the roster that didn't show as much because our record was able to kind of, shrug that off, going 8-1 in the first round robin, and then even going 6-3 despite the kind of like the changes in the support role and the adjustment period there, But I do think that this team probably had some issues that weren't as big, and so only the most critical analyst and like someone who has to look very closely at every detail would pick up on it. Whereas we as fans, even though we like to play armchair analysts, but it's not our job to do it. So there's probably a lot of little things we didn't notice, and now they are probably growing, and they've just become very, very much exposed, and that's kind of why we're having this suffering. So that you may be right, Nathan. This might have been the underlying state of FlyQuest, but we were able to outperform it through that honeymoon phase. But I would be apt to say that the wording of "this is the FlyQuest we should have seen in spring" is not the right wording. But it is the hot take oven. You had to let it cook, and I understand that. I'd say it's like there was a potential for this FlyQuest to show through if other teams had stepped up, and it could also be that maybe we're not doing poorly, like we are doing poorly in the standings. But also, I think other teams kind of stepped it up a lot more this summer than we've seen them in the past. Like, I think this is the most lively I have seen Dignitas and TSM in ages, So it unfortunate timing, really. Yeah.
Alrighty.
Do you have anything else you want to say about your take?
Honestly,
or about the team?
Huh?
Anything else about your take or about the team or FlyQuest in general?
I still have the inkling of hope that that Vikla does turn out, but on how he was presented by the analysts, by the desk and everything, I still have the inkling of hope. But as of right now, if FlyQuest were to bomb out, and they decide to make a change, I wouldn't be surprised if they make a change in mid lane, either promoting or looking elsewhere. But I wouldn't be upset if they ran the whole roster back again.
Fair enough.
I will say there's a lot of NA mids that are performing very well right now.
Oh yeah.
You don't necessarily have to import. All right. Thanks, Nate. Appreciate it. Gonna return you back to the Vibin room. We'll catch you around.
All right. I'll be in chat.
Excellent. All right. Memer, I know who you are. Memer has joined the show.
Whoa.
A recent addition to the Flight Check Discord.
No, not a recent addition to the Flight Check Discord. Just under a different name. Memer, where are you calling from tonight?
I'm calling from Arkansas. I don't know a city in Arkansas, but I'm calling from Arkansas.
Do you not know the capital of Arkansas?
No, NA geography.
Yeah, that's fair. You could go on Travis Gafford's surprise test with those skills.
No, I'm good, thank you.
uh,
rather do
He's
anything
from
else.
in Big Bang Theory.
So, probably. I don't know who watches Big Bang Theory. I am cultured, but not that cultured.
well, I was gonna say boomers probably watch it, and that's their
Yeah.
idea of
Yeah.
of
Mm.
nerds and
I'm-
gamers.
I'm more of a community man myself,
Mm.
but
Okay.
A community manager, perhaps.
no.
Oh.
Community manager? No, I don't work actually.
Oh, that's fair.
I'm calling from the McDonald's Wi-Fi, and I thought I'd just give my spicy take. If that's
Oh
cool.
yeah, no, absolutely. No,
What's your take?
yeah, lay it on us, sir.
All right, spicy take. All of FlyQuest should watch everything that's going on this week. I don't know. I've just heard through the what is it called? The grapevine, probably.
Yes.
Yeah.
Heard through the
Mhm,
grapevine. FlyQuest is playing in LCS, NACL, Melee, Valorant, and CS:GO all this week alone.
Dang.
Oh wow,
That's absolutely insane.
that is a lot. Now, my question for you, real quick, is how is all of FlyQuest supposed to watch if they also need to play at the same time as other members of FlyQuest? Like, do they just put it on like an overlay in the bottom right corner of their screen, or what? What do you want them to do?
I don't have the answers. I just
You just
I
have
live
the
in
solution.
Arkansas.
Yeah.
I just have the Arkansas take.
Okay.
But it's a big week for FlyQuest in terms of how much is going on.
Oh yeah. They could get knocked
That's
out of
actually a
LCS
huge week.
playoffs this week. That's how big
No
it is.
comment. No comment. But I thought I'd just come in and say that really quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's going to be
Yeah.
a great week. Lots of lots of great opportunities for FlyQuest fans to cheer on their respective players and teams and rosters and orgs.
Yeah, if you wanna live, eat, breathe, sleep FlyQuest, there's a lot of chance for that.
This,
you know,
this
this
I
is
think
the
that
week.
This is the week to do it.
I will say I've been hearing through the proverbial grapevine that the Valorant roster has potential to be number one in North America.
Mm,
I can say that as much.
all right.
that would be something.
That's all I got.
I would pay a lot of money to see that happen. It is true.
All right. Well,
All right. Thank you guys.
Excellent.
yeah.
Well,
Thank you,
Memer, for coming on the
Yep.
show tonight.
Yep.
We
Thank
do
you.
appreciate it. We do appreciate it.
All right. Later.
Adios. All right. Thank you.
Oh,
to,
man.
Thank you to friend of the show, Memer, for popping on. All right. That actually helps transition to some of the other parts of the show very, very well. Let's talk NACL. Something good. Something wholesome.
something great.
Something wholesome in our lives. FlyQuest Challengers 4-0 so far this week. 2-0 over AoE Gold. 2-0 over Wildcard Gaming. I will note 2,000 gold down at 22 minutes versus...
Yeah, Sandy, we need to stop talking about the team. We need to stop right now. You know what happened last week when we talked about the team and they were doing well.
Caster Curses wait for no man. 18-10 currently. Even if they take a single game over EG, looking at the standings, they will be in sole possession of second place. If not, even if they go 0-2, tied for second with Wildcard and Disguised, but a really great opportunity to really set themselves up for success as playoffs are less than a couple weeks away now. As we have talked about a lot, Spirax really, really setting himself apart in recent weeks. Just been very, very good. Looking at this week in particular, as I pull up the lay stats, 2-1-8 and a 6-2-5 on Azir versus AoE Gold. And then we also had day 2 here. Oh, it's not up. Oh, they actually haven't even put it up yet. So I don't know what his stats were against Wildcard Gaming, unfortunately. But
Give me a second. I will try to get it.
those, those performances are indicative of what he's been able to do recently. Part of why a lot of folks are calling for Spirax to play this upcoming week. in LCS. Now, would it be a lot for him to pull double duty in Challengers and LCS? Yes, but we've seen it done before. It's absolutely possible. And the guy has been really, really performing. The team has been absolutely excellent this whole week. At minimum, another 4-2 week. Like every week you go positive is a success. You know, like
It's a great week.
if the LCS roster goes 2-1 this week, that's a huge success. Like it counts as a success when you go 4-2. Positive win rate, you increase your winning percentage, you set yourself up for a better position come playoffs. I am looking forward to seeing what noise this team can make in the playoffs. I think they have a chance to make a really deep run. I think this team is special. I really do, and I think that they will be pretty fearsome in playoffs. How are you feeling about them right now, Curly?
I mean, everything's looking FlyQuest Challengers. It's looking really, really good.
Everything's coming up Millhouse for them.
Yeah. But I think it's very energizing to see a team like this perform really well and be at the top of the standings. Especially when you take into consideration specifically Spirax, because not only is he doing really well, but that is someone we have cultivated as a player for the last year or so. And so, like, the fact that he is, as an individual, really showing up, it makes me very happy, because that means, like, not only did we, scout really well and find someone who had great potential, but that means we've given him the environment to develop as a player and have this great showing. And so it's not only a great testament to him, but like a good testament to FlyQuest and the way we handle the Challengers League. So I'm really happy with that, because and especially also with Masu too, like the fact that we got him like right off the bat, and then he could easily be in the LCS next year, because it's a team success, it's a player success, and I'm just overall really happy. And I think when it comes to playoffs, this might be the best run we could possibly make. Like I could see this team full-fledged going all the way to the end and winning NACL.
Yeah, no, I do agree. I think this team's really special. They are playing tonight. This is true. They're playing EG Challengers tonight. But they can really do something. They've got some noise that they want to make, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what they can do.
Yeah.
All right. Other topics. Kadoran went to the Ludwig Ogren Championship Series, series number 5, actually, I believe.
Yes, it is.
Went out there, 9th place. Let me pull up, because he had a bunch of matchups, actually.
Yeah, well, so because there was the pools and then the brackets,
right.
And if you scroll up in our nice little group chat, Knox put them there for us.
Yeah, so he 3-2'd Triff, who was playing Peach, goes 1-3 against Zane on the Mar, 3-0s Axe on the Pikachu, and then 0-3s to both Hungry Box on Puff and Amsa on the Yoshi. So 2-3, good enough for 9th place. Unfortunately, just one win off of making it to the final bracket, unfortunately, so didn't get the chance to play in that, which eventually Leffen, who was just really on one this weekend, he ends up 3-2ing Zane twice, as well as 3-2ing Cody Schwab in a 3-0 over HBox. And he actually played both Sheik and Fox to do it, which was absolutely absolutely wild. Just really cool to see Leffen pull out both the Fox and the Sheik to take down this tournament. Kadoran, 9th place, didn't have to. I don't think he had to go through the open qualifier, which I think was up in the air. But definitely, did a lot stronger than some of the other folks that were here. I mean, 2-3, pretty good, especially for what like expectations are for him. I think so. I thought it was a good showing for him, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he does next. I don't know. I have to look and see if he is going to be at Super Smash Con or not. I'm not sure about that. I got to...
Well, you figure that out. I will say, I think, like, getting 9th place, going 2-3, this is a stacked pool, I'd say. That top 8, like, is just really tight. I think anyone could have taken that, like, 7th and 8th spot, Yeah. Because you've got a lot of your regulars in Zane, Cody Schwab, Hbox, Mango, Amsa, and Leffen. So really, it's like, I'd say the two quote-unquote sleepers that got in there, Moki and Swift, I'd say any of like Triff, Joshman, or Kadoran could have taken their spots, considering how tight it was.
Yeah, absolutely.
So even this is a 9th place that I can very, very, very comfortable with.
Yeah, I mean, this was absolutely a stacked top 16 Swiss bracket that you had to play through, and really in my mind, like not going 0-5 is a success.
Yeah.
Like,
oh yeah. Well, and then also the like he wasn't originally supposed to be in this part of it.
Right.
It was when J-Mook, started having the sudden health problems, and he took his spot. Like for being just ready on the fly.
Yeah. To get
really good show. Really proud of him.
Yeah. Yeah. Really fantastic. Okay. Moving back to LA, or not LA. Well, actually, technically, yes. Moving back to
LA for the LCS.
Moving
and
back
how we feel about this week
to LA for the LCS. It is time to do some predicting. And as I erase last week's predictions, and also the cameras are not up to snuff currently. There he is, showing up for us. I'll fix you in just a second. Boom. Predictions are in. Curly matching me, potentially for the first time in the history of the show. I don't think that's actually true, but
no, I do think so. I think
I know we don't match very often, so it's
I think the only week we would have been on the same predictions this split, or probably week 1. That is the only time I think we could have agreed with each other.
Probably week 1, because I think we all picked the 3-0. I was more joking that
wait, I have the pictures here. I can check.
2.5 years of doing this show, we've never predicted the same thing.
No, usually I'm more optimistic than you.
No, it's true. You are not wrong, sir. I think this is going to be a revealing week. You and I each have us taking down NRG. Nox is on the complete pessimism train. 0-3 week. Probably knocking us out of top 8. How likely do you think that is to happen? I mean, you have us losing to both EG and TL, as do I. I think for good reason. TL, strong 2-1 last week. They look like they're on the come up. EG, sitting pretty, top of the standings. And NRG is a team that really can beat anyone at any given time. They've just had some... They've been weird. They're hot or they're cold. But when they're hot, they can beat anyone. How realistic is this for another 0-3 week?
Man, we were just so positive for a second.
Know,
Why are you making me do this?
Look,
why are you making me do this?
We gotta bring it back.
Man.
We gotta somber the mood.
You gotta bring it back. All right. The O3 is more likely than I would like to admit.
Yeah.
Especially because Energy is that volatile team that could win or lose at any time. Like, I think they're very good.
Right.
But also, I do think it's just like, they can win against Cloud9, and then they might even be able to win against Cloud9 again, but then they might drop to, say, Immortals potentially before the end of the split. I don't think that'll happen, but like, it's just like some losses seem kind of random to me. So there's an unfortunate possibility that we could have an 0-3 week, but I'm going to be honest, the only one I'm not as concerned about is Team Liquid, because I am a certified Team Liquid hater.
Yeah.
But like, admittedly, I do think the APA move was a really good call.
They look really good with APA in there.
They look really good with APA. And I'd say that's with someone who's on the rise, feeling himself, going against someone. We talked enough about the state of Vikla right now. So if you have someone who's got a really good showing and someone who's been down for their expectations, it's a little concerning.
Yeah.
But it's just, for whatever reason, I cannot put it into specific words yet because I'm not educated enough in League of Legends. There is something about the way Team Liquid is and the way Team Liquid plays. And I feel like the way we play and the way we are, I think we can snuff it out potentially. And I'm hoping to be wrong about that prediction. But admittedly, when it comes to EG,
yeah,
I am terrified.
Let's talk about EG real quick, because it's just like, this is a team that out of nowhere people were like, oh yeah, they're like a 6 through 8 kind of roster. They are showing in so many ways that like NA talent can get it done. You have a top laner who has been maligned for years and finally is getting a chance to like play with teammates who are good, and he's showing how good he can be when properly supported. You have a jungler who has been given shots over the years, but also has been maligned by the community, who is performing very well. You have one of the greatest prospects in LCS history, in Jojo Pune, in the mid lane. Add on to that, you have a guy who, let's be honest, probably should never have been playing in Challengers last spring at all in Unforgiven. Probably should always have been a starting AD carry somewhere in either LEC or, LCS. And then you have Ignar, who is... Sorry, not Ignar. You have Ayla.
Wrong EG support.
I know, wrong EG support. You have Ayla, who also, incredibly hyped prospect, honestly, got put in a really tough situation with us, with FlyQuest, and now is showing that he's actually kind of goated. And is probably, a top 3 support in this league, like, finally able to show it. So, like, this is a team that's actually showing that, like, North American talent can do it. North American talent can win. You don't have to bring in, crazy imports from Korea or, a $5 million buyout of guys whose, usernames rhyme with Hertz. And you can actually do very, very well. And that is why we're not going to beat them on Thursday. Why do you feel like we can beat NRG? I'm curious as to your take there. Because I agree, but I want to hear your thoughts on it.
Like I said, I think it comes back to the volatility of the team and just the way I think their records go. I think just because of that, it's just the most likely for us to win, Not as much deep details there.
Yeah.
If anything, I'm also just really hoping for, in this particular case, a really on game from Spica, and hoping, I think Impact has been trying his best the whole time, despite how the team has been doing. Like, Impact, like I've said last week, is kind of a silent hero, doing his job and being thanked, not enough.
Yeah.
And so I think if he has a really good lane against Dokla, and Speak is on, he can definitely outperform contracts, and I think those are the two biggest success points for us that we can pull ahead on.
Yeah. I think I'm inclined to agree there. I think I've not been particularly impressed by NRG's bot lane so far, and I think if this is the week for Prince and Vulcan to really turn it on, this is a great opportunity for them to get started. And I think we could really smash through bot lane on Wednesday and really, give it to them. So I think we match up very well, just position-wise. We matched up really well last split, and, they did side grades at best for all their players. So, yeah. 1-2 week for you and I. 0-3 for Nox. 1-2 would put FlyQuest at 4 and 4-11 with 1 week to play.
Oh boy!
And now, if we beat NRG, they would be at least 5-8. The best they could do is get up to that 7-8. They are playing. Let's look. I mean, we could look at, so it's basically 100 Thieves and NRG. Unlikely that we're going to catch Dignitas or TSM. What a sentence. Unlikely that FlyQuest will catch up to Dignitas and TSM. NRG plays us, Dignitas, and Golden Guardians. So legitimately a chance for them to go 0-3 this week. And then 100 Thieves goes up against Immortals, Cloud9, and TSM. So probably beats Immortals. Probably loses to Cloud9, and then I have no idea how that TSM thing could go. So they're looking at probably a 1-2 or a 2-1 week, I would guess. So
yes.
If there's any week for us to make a mark and claw some stuff back,
this is fun.
This is it.
Oh yeah.
A 2-1 sets us up in decent striking position to make a run for 7th, 8th in week 6, in which we play TSM and Immortals, very winnable games, before closing the season against Cloud9, a very losable game. So, in my mind, right now we're looking at going 3-3, finishing 6-12.
The lowest to get in has been, if I remember correctly, 4.
Yeah.
I don't quote me on that.
It's
not 4, it's 5.
I think
6 is higher than that.
I think we would have to go 2-1 both weeks. I think we basically have to win 7 games at this point.
Oh yeah.
To get in. Tough. It's going to be tough, and I already feel like I know how it's going to go, which makes it all the more painful. All right.
Look, all I will say is this is depending on how this week goes and how we do specifically against TSM next week determines whether I see Oppenheimer or Barbie first. That's gotta match the mood.
I don't think I want to know. I see. I thought you were talking about like a bet or something you had made.
If we tank, if we blow up, I'm gonna watch an even bigger bomb in Oppenheimer. We have a great start.
There you go. That's gonna go. You know what? That's gonna be a Flight Check podcast tweet. Sometime later this week.
But if we go 3-0 and if we make it, it's going to be life in the dream house, baby. Will be watching Barbie.
Absolutely. Hey, the best place for you to see that potential tweet later this week? That's right. It's the Flight Check Twitter account, which you can see at Flight Check Crew on Twitter. You can also see my thoughts at SantosDB, Nox at Noxwar with 2 R's, and Curly at Curly_QQ_. We're not on Threads yet, unfortunately. Maybe I'll get around to that. I've never felt like creating an Instagram account for the show, because I didn't think anyone would ever follow us, but Might be worth it at this point. I'll let you guys know if we create a Threads account. I have one myself personally. You can follow that at santos.debarros. That's there for you. But thank you, everyone, for tuning into this episode of Flight Check. Thank you for the folks who hopped on the call earlier, which was a lot of fun. Always love doing that. 5th Super Week in a row. Really difficult week. NRG, EG, TL, all tough teams. Have to go 2-1. Would love to go 3-0. That's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Make sure to hop into the Flight Check Discord as well. You can commiserate with us there. Or talk about catching a shiny Hoppip with me in the Pokemon channel, which I did this week. Turns out shiny Hoppip, he's just dark green. It's just dark green. It's not like anything unique or cool at all. He's just like, oh, instead of the pink Hoppip, it's a dark green Hoppip. I guess I'll see what Skiploom and Cottony look like eventually. Because you better believe I'm taking that shiny Hoppip all the way to Victory Road. It's going to happen. All right.
I might be the only person in the history of ever that doesn't care much for having a shiny Pokemon.
I will note, it was the first shiny Pokemon I have legitimately caught.
I don't think I've ever gotten one.
Like, just encountered in the wild. I got a gift shiny Arcanine, but that was, like, a gift, obviously. I didn't, like, go out in the random world and go catch it, so. All right.
Yeah.
If you missed any part of this episode, the VOD will be up on YouTube tonight or tomorrow morning. If you're watching that and would like to catch the show live, we do broadcast the episode usually every Monday night, usually at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, right here at twitch.tv/FlightCheckCrew. Curly, final notes, shoutouts, plugs, anything at all before we wrap up.
Like you said, thank you to Nathan and Memer for coming on the show earlier. Really appreciated having that interaction. And then I'd say my final thoughts are, like, no matter what happens with the team this week and next, it is what it is. If we fail, we fail. It happens. If we succeed, we succeed, and I'm going to ride that wave all the way to the possible end. And I want to believe in FlyQuest as much as possible. And then the nice thing too is that we are an org with 5 teams or 5 sports now, like 5 games. We're not just the one trick org anymore. So if you don't want to watch LCS, don't worry about it. We've got challengers, we've got Melee, we've got CS:GO, we've got Valorant Game Changer. So there's plenty of opportunities for this team to show greatness and fly in every possible way. So I'm very happy with the state of FlyQuest, even if the LCS team is struggling.
Yeah. Absolutely true. All of that. My shout out is going to go to the shiny Hoppip I caught. I can't remember. I might have called him Horace, like Horace, because I thought that was a fun name for a Hoppip. So Horace the Hoppip, you get my shout out tonight. All right. That's all we got. Go check out FlyQuest Challengers. They're about to hop into Game 2 versus Evil Geniuses Challengers. That is over on LCS_Challengers. Maybe we'll give it a quick raid after the show. But we'll be back next week to either celebrate our rise from the ashes or our plummet to the bottom. So for now, please stay safe out there. Do not forget to hit the head on the nail, and we'll see you all very, very soon. Adios, everybody.
Have a good one, y'all. Peace, y'all.